In the history of baseball, greatness has most often been defined by the men wearing the interlocking NY. It could be overwhelming to be held to their mythical standards, their iron will, their love of the game. But the 1998 New York Yankees answered the call, selflessly came together with heart and leadership well worthy of anything from glory days gone by. What has happened here at Yankee Stadium is commemorated in stone with a power that can haunt the timid, yet inspire the brave to claim their place in pinstripe history. As spring became summer and game after game turned to win after win, the team embraced what they were.
Offensively, defensively, best pitching, day in and day out. I've never been on a team that can go out there with the attitude that we're going to win today no matter what.
Even if we were losing, by 2 or 3 runs, early in the game or late in the game, we knew that we were going to come back and find a way to win.
People in the stands saw it and are going to remember it, and people in our locker room are knowing it.
As a team, this is the ultimate team.
They played with style and with dramatic flourishes that proved that they were among the greats that have ever been in this, the season of their lives.
Everyone up on their feet. Swung on a drill deep to right. There it goes. That ball is in time. Oh, what a amazing scene in the Bronx. It is high. It is far. It is gone. And the stadium's up for grabs. Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
Center field. Giles is there. Celebrate.
The feeling in this locker room right now is not real good. I just what else can you say? I mean, now everybody can look back at what they could have done to maybe change a game here or there, but it's all over now.
We'd just come off 96 and found out what winning a World Series in New York was all about. And then it's just disappointment because here you are, you played to get to the playoffs, and then you're one out of 4 teams to go to the World Series, and you just assume that it's going to happen again, and it didn't.
The 98 Yankees would present a slightly different face. GM Brian Cashman taking over from Bob Watson.
Hello.
Coveted second baseman Chuck Knobloch was acquired in a trade with the Twins and immediately liked the feel of pinstripes. It did not stop there, as more millions were spent on 38-year-old switch hitter Chili Davis. And when the team stepped on the spring training field in Tampa, Scott Brocious was their third baseman. He, too, was happy.
With Oakland, we used to get mad when we'd see all the trades. We're going, the Yankees are getting somebody else, or they're going out to grab somebody else. And now, like when the Knobloch trades start up, I'm like, go get the guy. Now I'm just on the other side of the fence and just, pulling for all these moves. And, it's a great opportunity because, the Yankees, they're going to do whatever it takes to try to put a winner on the field. And it's just great to be a part of it.
And so, loaded at virtually every position, the team prepared with a driven focus born for many that crushing night in Cleveland. It appeared the only problem for manager Joe Torre would be finding enough playing time for all his stars.
It was a good batting order in previous years, and then to add a guy like Chili Davis and have Darryl coming back healthy, and I'm just lucky to be a part of it.
Knobloch's job one was to bond with his shortstop Derek Jeter. The team personality was loose and confident, personified in that regard by David Wells. It was also an extremely professional and insightful team.
It was a very bad taste in our mouths when we left Cleveland last year. And I think the guys got to work early. You look at all the guys that showed up to Tampa, and the guys who were there in January. The players that not only live there, but like myself came down and some other guys came down. And, Coney started throwing on the ship and the cruise, and I think it was in November, so guys were ready to go.
This is what the start of the Yankee season looked like both in San Diego for exhibition and Anaheim when the games were for real, and very ugly. Before they could blink, they were 0-2.
We really hadn't been on the field for almost 2 weeks coming out of spring training with the weather problems we had in Florida and the weather problems we had in San Diego. The season kind of started and we felt uncomfortable almost being on the field.
Soft fly to left. Anderson puts it away, and the Angels have gotten off to a great start here.
On Planet Yankee, pressure builds quickly, and as the schedule took the team to Oakland, they didn't look any more comfortable or focused or successful.
Long drive to right field. O'Neill will look up, and this is gone. A grand slam from Scott Fazio, and the A's will take the lead.
Oh boy, what damage has been done here in the sixth. The A's defeat the Yankees 7-3, and the Yankees now here in 1998, they are 0 for 3 to start this season.
Then finally the next day they got it right. Chad Curtis's home run gave them a ninth-inning lead, which Mariano Rivera did not protect, but an additional run in the 10th was saved by Jeff Nelson.
Pitch swung on right back to Nelson. Has time from his knees, throws to first, and the ball game is over. The Yankees win it 9-7 and pick up their first win of the year.
The Yankees could finally smile. But there was medical trouble. Chili Davis's ankle needed surgery and 5 months. Mariano Rivera pulled a groin and headed to the disabled list. Team depth would be tested. The Yankees moved north and limped into Seattle. Andy Pettitte fell to 0-2. And there was plenty of grimacing as the Mariners shut them down 8-0. Even the veterans didn't look poised, only pressing. Lou Piniella loved it, and some observers were quick to abandon ship. Others felt the magic of Joe Torre had emptied his bag of tricks, and that he was in trouble.
That was an emotional meeting. I mean, that was a tense time. It was probably the tensest time of the year, even more so than maybe even the playoffs or World Series. People's jobs were on the line, at least being talked about it, and then when that sort of thing filters through a clubhouse, it can be a tough issue. Somebody might get fired, somebody might get traded. People are a little worried, very tense, and that meeting just cleared the air, kind of fired everybody up.
Obviously, you expect us to go out and start winning, and we did right off the bat. And when the media gets involved in things like that, it can make it bigger than it is. Joe's meetings are usually don't panic. To continue to go out, continue to do the things that we put this team together to do, and that's just play good, fundamental, basic baseball, and we're going to win. And it just so happened that night, it seemed like we turned the page or something, and we wrote a good book.
It was Chapter 1 of Yankee character on display. 6 runs in the very first inning. Then the next day, they won again in what many players call the turning point of the season.
Ball is grounded towards Jeter. Could be 2. To Knobloch for 1. In the dirt, picked by Tino. There's the double play, and the Yankees win it 4-3.
Holy cow.
New York was on its way. It was a nostalgic year for the franchise, as 75 years before, Yankee Stadium first opened on 161st Street and River Avenue in the Bronx. The opponents were the Boston Red Sox. And no surprise to Yankee fans of the present day, parking was a concern for those lucky enough to have a Model T to drive to the game. The crowd was enormous, and attendance figures were wildly overstated, but the lure of a state-of-the-art baseball facility was obvious. It was called the house that Ruth built, and perfectly, he was the first to hit a home run into the right field bleachers, which would come to be known as Ruthville. Reporters said they never saw 65,000 people leave so orderly, and after all the greatness that has been seen within its walls, Yankee Stadium looked gorgeous as a senior citizen on opening day.
Let's welcome the Yankee Clipper, the greatest living ball player, Jolting Joe DiMaggio.
What happened next was wildly historic.
They're loaded for Ben Grieve. Sharply and out of the reach of Knobloch. The A's are going to get 2 more. Hit well, right field. O'Neill on the run. Can't get it. Misjudged it briefly, and the ball carried over his head. Reeve is being waved home. Jeter's throw is just a little late, and it's 5-0 Oakland.
Joe Torre had seen it before, and he would see it again. A comeback provided by sizzling Tino Martinez, who had a 5 RBI day. The Yankees started making stops and added more clutch hits. And 56,717 watched them win it 17-13.
Struck him out. And the Yankees have won the wildest, highest scoring game in the history of Yankee Stadium here on the 75th anniversary of the opening of this venerable old ballpark. They fell behind 5-0. They came back to take a 12-5 lead. They fell behind 13-12, and in 5,694 games in the regular season, there has never been a higher scoring game at the stadium, so all smiles there.
On April 13th, the stadium showed its age and lost a steel joint that fell through the ceiling of the upper deck. Mayor Rudolph Giuliani was quick to mobilize city engineers, and after inspection, the Yankees and Anaheim were postponed. 2 days later, the Yankees dressed in their Bronx clubhouse, boarded buses, and headed to Flushing and Shea Stadium, where they played in the mid-'70s when Yankee Stadium was being renovated. In an amazing display of cooperation, the Mets, the city, and the Yankees made it happen. 40,000 fans totally embraced this quirky scenario. Now, the Mets and Cubs would play that night after the Yankees enjoyed their day. Darryl Strawberry looked like he often did as a Met.
Sends this one high and deep and gone. The greatest home run hitter Shea Stadium has ever known. It's his 127th career home run here in Flushing. Whoops, stop it right there.
In April, Darryl hit .352 with 6 home runs and 14 RBIs. With the stadium being fixed, the party took to the road and the Yankees began to pile up the wins. In chilly Detroit, Tino Martinez basically ended the game in the first inning.
High and deep into right field. Higginson will look up, and it's off of the facade in right field. A grand slam for Martinez, and the Yankees will lead it 5-0.
Because of Mike Stanton's 4 early saves, the Yankees didn't skip a beat as Mariano Rivera mended. The Yankees drew a crowd everywhere they went. And in Toronto, the team would show what the top of the order could do as Chuck Knobloch flashed a little speed and power as he adjusted to his new surroundings. And when Knobloch wasn't doing this, he was getting hit by a pitch or drawing a walk. And that's how the Yankees would beat him. Because when Knobloch was hitting, matinee idol Derek Jeter was on deck to deliver. And sometimes that happened when the opponent was simply intimidated by how perfect they had to be to slow this part of the Yankees down. The team often saw a look of exasperation on the other side of the field, and even when they faced a rocket and struggled early, they would solve the mystery later.
Three Yankees will score as Brocious is in the second with a 2-base hit.
Hey, Scott Brocious, this day is for you. I'll tell you, 5 RBIs.
Scott Brocious was a perfect fit. In fact, everything the Yankees did, they refreshingly did for the team.
That's been preached to us since Joe got here, and there aren't any selfish ball players here, and I think they made sure that in '98 they put together a great club. Guys understand what it means to take a walk. Guys understand what it means to give up yourself, get a man over, do the little things, swallow your pride a little bit, and do it for the club.
Everybody was getting the credit because the team was winning, and it makes it easy. I mean, that's the way baseball ought to be played. And you know, in these times, a lot of people single out a player here or there, but nobody was like that on our team, and I think it helped everybody.
No relationship illustrated the team concept more than the one between catchers Joe Girardi and Jorge Posada.
He comes talk to me and stuff about hitters that I don't really know. We go to the scouting report, but you know, he helped me out the most when he's playing, and you know, and he tells me, okay, I did this with this guy, or I did this with this guy.
George is a great talent, and
I've had to move on before. I don't know what's going to happen next year. I don't worry about next year. I worry about George and I being part of a championship team like we were in '96. Like I said, he's a great talent. He's got a bright future, and things will work out the best for both of us.
On April 24th, Yankee Stadium was given a clean bill of health, and on reopening day, George Steinbrenner would make his statement by sitting in what would have been a fateful seat to watch the game. And what a game it was for Darryl Strawberry. A majestic 432-foot blast that led to a 4-run first inning and an 8-4 win over Detroit in a game that would mark the powerful return of game-saver extraordinaire Mariano Rivera.
The 3-2 pitch to Raul Casanova. Mo is back. He strikes out Casanova with the high heat, and this one is over.
In less than a week, Mo would save 3 games, and before April was officially over, the Yankees would make the transition after starting like a lamb to finish like a lion. There would be 9th inning drama as Tim Raines tied Seattle with a solo home run. And then, with the bases loaded with Yankees, Tino Martinez beat them.
Line drive, right field, the Yankees win it. Tino Martinez with a base hit here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Knobloch comes on, and it's a 9-8 victory for this Yankee ball club.
The Yankees were in first place for the first time, and they were there for good. David Boomer Wells bounces to his own heavy metal Metallica beat. He is not one to hide what it is that he is feeling, so you can usually tell his mood with ease. Over the years, managing him has been and is still a challenge. On May 6th, pitching in Texas, Wells was on the mound squandering a big lead when Joe Torre removed him and then dared him to be better.
I just didn't like the way Wells was walking around on the mound. He was just kicking at it and going slow, and he just really had bad body language. I think he ran out of gas. I thought he had good stuff. I think he just ran out of gas. Maybe he's not in shape. I don't know.
That day in Texas was miserable. I mean, situations happened in the game, and I didn't think I should have been taken out. And I'll take that to my grave.
In his next start, Wells struck out 9 and was outstanding. Then on Sunday, May 17th, Yankee Stadium would be packed with many young, impressionable fans.
I remember going to the ballpark and remembering I had to bring home a bunch of the Beanie Babies. It was Beanie Baby Day, and my kids were more excited about that than the game itself. But, in the middle of the game, all of a sudden you start looking up and just realizing they're not getting good swings off of them.
Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3.
I guess about the 5th inning, I kind of looked up and realized there hasn't been anybody on base yet. And, you hear those voices sometimes inside and says, you may see something special today.
21 in a row have been retired.
That was surreal. I mean, it was almost like everything was underwater for me watching it from the bench and being in that situation myself a couple of times and not getting there, knowing what it would mean if he could do it.
Tino Martinez says he has it, and David Wells is perfect through 8 innings.
You start rooting for the guy. I mean, then you start getting nervous, and then there's a lot of emotions that go through the players' heads too.
David home, hiding.
I'm not a real superstitious guy, but I started the game off with the sunglasses on, and it was kind of an overcast day, or a little bit of both, in and out. And I was going to take the shades off, but I just didn't want to take them off. I wasn't lucky sunglasses. I mean, go figure.
I wonder if any player wants the ball hit to him. They're all rooting for strikeouts, I would think, no matter how sure-handed they are.
I remember standing out there in the 9th inning thinking, okay, if you're going to hit it to me, make it an easy one-hopper. Don't give me that nasty ball that I got to try to pick and throw. You want the ball, but at the same time, you want that easy one.
Popped up to short right field. Knobloch back, O'Neill in. O'Neill is there, and David Wells is 2 outs away from a perfect game.
Sitting on the bench, you're a wreck just watching it. You're nervous for everyone. I was nervous for Georgie, because you put so much pressure on yourself to call the right pitch, and he did a magnificent job.
got him on strikes, the 11th strikeout, and David Wells is down to one more out.
Imagine the pressure, 1 out away from immortality. Not many people have done this. One previous Yankee, Don Larson, in the World Series, and what a stage here at the home office for baseball, and everyone on their feet.
Swung on, he's gonna get it. O'Neill near the line, he makes the catch. David Wells has pitched a perfect game. 27 up, 27 down. Baseball immortality for David Wells, and the Yankees win. The Yankees win.
I think that was one of the first clues to us that, this was really going to be a special season.
And the entire Yankee team is mobbing David Wells.
I remember handing the ball to Boomer and just, shaking his hand.
And they were all part of immortality.
It was perfect. It was the ultimate perfect game because he was that good that day and he deserved it.
And now the Yankees are carrying David Wells out the mound.
Not too many great pitchers have accomplished that feat, so to be on the field and in Yankee Stadium on a sold-out Beanie Baby day, it just made it more special.
This crowd is going nuts.
We were just part of a historical game. We saw something that I may never see again in my lifetime, and I had a chance to play in this game in front of a full house in Yankee Stadium. I mean, just the history of it alone, had something special to it.
It was most ironic that the slightly disheveled, night-loving, speak-your-mind Yankee was the one who turned out to be perfect.
I mean, for me, getting in that ninth inning in that situation and watching Paul O'Neill camp under that ball, and then just the excitement that he expressed, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. It's, to me that was the ultimate, because being with the team that you always wanted to play for, and with this group of guys, they're awesome.
The great Yankee teams commemorated beyond the left center field wall were being well represented in 1998. This team played to its strengths. That included a day-in, day-out lineup that could beat you 1-9, and an overriding offensive philosophy that was designed to get a good pitch to hit, while in the process forcing the opposition to reveal its weakness.
See, when you have pitching like we did, you're going to be in a game day in and day out, and it's going to give you a chance to win. The way that we did the fundamentals as far as moving people over and getting people in, when you're in the game, chances are we were going to win it.
The champion of this good-eye patience was Paul O'Neill.
You're up there for 5 or 6 pitches. Well, every pitch you're in on what you're trying to do, instead of just stepping back into the box and just wailing away and putting the ball in play.
Very close pitch, and he checked on that. Don Denkinger says ball 3.
That's a veteran taking a close pitch.
When you're just made up your mind that I'm going to swing this one, I'm going to kill it, and he throws a bad pitch, and then you end up swinging at it and grounding out or something, then you've given that bat away.
Hit well, left field. Back is Albert Bell. He's looking up, and this ball is gone, and the Yankees have taken the lead on a 3-run homer by Paul O'Neill. No better hitter in the American League at taking that outside pitch the opposite way.
The Yankees also used early season bursts of speed mixed with fundamentals to undermine starting pitchers and their catchers. Everything was designed to expose the other team's bullpen and lack of depth.
If it comes down to a battle of the bullpens, that's a big edge for the Yankees.
The 3-2 pitch with the bases loaded. Ball 4. And it's 6-2.
This strategy took the happiness from the Baltimore Orioles on May 19th. The Yankees had been trailing Baltimore 5-1, with the O's desperately trying to stay in the race, but New York got into their bullpen.
Long drive to right field, and the Yankees have taken the lead.
The very next pitch might have been expected, but the Yankees took great exception to Armando Benitez.
Benches are going to empty. That was a frustration pitch on beneath his point.
Baseball brawls are ugly. I mean, they shouldn't happen, but they do. That was one where I think that most people just basically agreed with what happened. I mean, you got to go out and you protect your own.
Oh, great one. They're after him.
I feel as though I'm pretty mild-mannered, and the situation out there wasn't like that at all.
How do you feel about your team? How can you feel? We took it right to them.
Always that sense of hunger and that sense of urgency about wanting to win every game that we played. So, you know, you start messing with one of our guys on the team, you can see the fire, the fiery spirit come out saying, we're going to protect that guy.
You got a guy on the mound that throws 100 miles an hour. It's not funny throwing at someone. I don't think that's the first time he's hit Tino either.
After 15 minutes, order was restored, and the very next batter was Tim Raines.
Hit well to deep right. Looking up is Hammonds, and Raines has left the yard.
What did you say to your team, George?
I said, I'm proud of them. Aren't you proud of them?
In early June, the Yankees lost Derek Jeter to a strained abdominal muscle. Tim Raines said he's okay, but Bernie Williams injured his knee in Montreal and would be gone a month and a half. Still, the team was okay because of their starting pitching. David Wells hadn't lost since his first start of the season. Hideki Irabu had a lot of pop in all of his pitches early on and was the American League's best pitcher in May. In addition, he was more at ease, finally feeling as though he was contributing after a disappointing debut in '97.
Hideki Irabu has pitched a complete game shutout, his first as a major leaguer.
And you can see his reaction. It's certainly very happy, getting congratulations from his teammates as he picks up his first major league shutout and complete game.
Irabu finished with a record of 13-9, but didn't factor into the postseason at all. Andy Pettitte didn't lose in June, benefiting in part from the knowledge that every time out, he didn't have to be the man.
I've been here 4 years. It's kind of been like that for 4 years. It's fun for me just to not have too much pressure, just go out there and just do whatever. I mean, I had enough of it whenever David went down a couple of years ago and stuff like that, when he had that injury with the aneurysm and stuff. So, it's been nice this year.
Early in the month, David Cohn showed the reason he had to miss a start. A little nip from a Jack Russell Terrier named Veronica.
This is my mom's dog. It happened quickly, and it was a puppy and really sharp little teeth, and it's kind of embarrassing, but it was kind of a freak thing. There's not much I can do about it.
The Yankees deemed the time right to unveil their latest international prize, Orlando Hernandez El Duque, a Cuban national star, forsaken to an $8 a month job as a physical therapist because of Fidel Castro's fear that he would defect. One night, El Duque did leave with 8 others on a rickety 19-foot boat. They were rescued, and now as a Yankee, he was a millionaire. The minor leaguers he faced could not touch him. His movie-like life hit the big time.
My thought is always, I have a lot to lose but much to gain.
Entonces, sobre eso, trabajo.
I get emotional with my work.
Estaba un poco emocionado.
I've been accustomed with pressure. I mean, to in Cuba, always having pitching in packed houses. But being different in the United States, he felt a lot of pressure, but it was his job. And always, in every game, when I step on the mound, I don't hear anything.
Who stared out at the empty ocean, pitched with no fear, and struck out 7, beat Tampa Bay, and cried for all he had been through.
Dedicar este juego a mi mamá.
He said he wants to dedicate this game to his mom. He's gonna let her know.
A mis 2 hijas.
His 2 daughters.
A toda mi familia que está en Cuba.
And my family in Cuba.
La que está aquí en los Estados Unidos. Y en general a toda la comunidad hispana y a todos los fans de los Yankees.
4 days later, David Cohn returned strong.
I don't know how much more you can boost this staff, but this performance by Cohn has got to give them more confidence in what they already had. He's the guy they really look up to. On-speed pitch, little tapper. And Cohn will throw him out. What a performance by David Cohn, his first complete game of the season, and now David Cohn has won 8 in a row.
It reminded everyone of something David Cohn was part of before.
It really did. I think it reminded me of some of the Met staffs back in the 80s in that everybody was different. It was a really diverse staff. Everybody had a unique style. There were no two pitchers that were the same. I can only think of maybe a handful of games that we were blown out of or didn't have a chance to win or weren't in the game the entire year, and that's just remarkable when you think about that.
When the Yankees won their 23rd World Championship in 1996, they did it in shocking come-from-behind style to beat the National League champion Atlanta Braves. With largely the same cast, these two, disappointed in 97, squared off to show who was best in late June. Greg Maddux was Cy Young tough, but largely matched by Andy Pettitte. While the Yankees once again showed how they would eventually beat you.
Pitch is hit in the air to center field. Jones turns the wrong way, has good speed. It's over his head into the wall. Knobloch will score. O'Neill is being waved tall. A double for Reigns. It's 5-4 Yankees.
Tim Raines' double did the trick in a charged-up Yankee Stadium in Game 1, and that was not well received by Atlanta. The next day, the Braves calmed down. Tom Glavine played the role of himself as Atlanta evened the score. The scene switched to Turner Field for 2 more games in Georgia. David Cone sizzled in 100-degree heat, while Atlanta melted.
Little ground ball. He's going to spin and throw. Plesko is. And it goes all the way down the line. The Yankees score 1. They scored 2.
To take 3 out of 4, New York relied on David Wells, and he went all the way.
High fly ball deep center field, but Curtis has got a beat on it, and the Yankees will shut out the Braves here at Turner Field by the score of 6-0.
Interleague play continued with the proclaimed Subway Series between the Yankees and Mets at Shea. The Mets had made their big play acquiring Mike Piazza. It was a big-time New York City event.
It's exciting. I mean, it's a great time for the city, and in some ways, it's probably more important to them than the World Series. We look forward to this, and you know, I know the Yankee fans and the Mets fans look forward to this too.
You're gonna get both fans going at it on the field, and it's probably up in the stands. So it's gonna be a great time.
The first game turned on a simple turn of events when Derek Jeter's roller wound up getting Al Leiter's knee hurt. Still, things were all tied when Hideki Irabu faced Mike Piazza in the 6th.
Pitch is lined towards right field. O'Neill going back, still going back. It's over his head. One Hobson wall. Piazza's rounded first, and he's on his way to second for the leadoff double. And it looked like Paul O'Neill misjudged that ball.
O'Neill, though, would fix everything with 2 on in the 7th on a first pitch from beleaguered reliever Mel Rojas.
Pitch to O'Neill's hit high and deep to left field. Gilkey going back, still going back. This one is gone. First pitch from Rojas is hit out of the ballpark. The Yankees lead 6-4.
After he come around from after hitting a home run, he says, now put somebody in the defense.
The Yankees took the series by winning the next day, but there was some controversy in Game 3, as the Yankees made the right play just a little bit too late.
Baerga comes in to score. They throw to first for the double play, but the run had scored. Now, we're going to have an argument.
So here's the point.
And the run counts. The game is over. The Mets have won.
The Yankees, now 36 games over 500, faced the Philadelphia Phillies for 3. Darryl Strawberry powered them in the first game. David Wells bolted to victory in the second. And then Joe Torre down 3 with 2 out in the 9th. Signaled for a Roy Hobbs moment from Tino Martinez.
Deep in 5. This game is tied up. Tino Martinez with a 3-run shot here in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. His second home run of the night, and it's 8-8. Holy cow! look at the Yankees. Come on.
The Yankees were deep into the Phillies bullpen on a day in which they were dynamite. In the 11th inning, the man who lit the final fuse was Ricky Leday.
Back up the middle, base hit, past Relaford. O'Neill comes on to score. The Yankees win another one as the Yankees continue to just pound you.
The Yankees wrapped up a dominating first half by sweeping Baltimore to hit 61 wins at the All-Star break, tying a Major League record. After the All-Star break, the Yankees stayed in the swing of things. Amidst this dominating role, Darryl Strawberry did the remarkable twice. First, in Kansas City.
To deep center. Damon going back, looking up, and this ball is gone. A grand slam home run for Darryl Strawberry. Do you believe it? It is 12-6 Yankees. They got what they waited for.
Then, on the 4th of August, with the Yankees trailing 5-1 in the 9th inning at Oakland, Darryl was a pinch hitter again, with the bases loaded again.
And Girardi being called back. And the Yankees will have the tying run at the plate, and guess who it'll be? Hit well, straightaway center field, and deep. Christensen at the track. He's looking up, and it's gone!
Now the second time this year that Darryl has come off the bench in the 9th inning and hit a grand slam home run.
Tim Raines was a big part of the club's spirit. After all, he had a special high fist for everyone on the team. His son had just been drafted by the Orioles, and he watched as Dad still had a need for speed.
The Yankees are going to try to win it. Throw gets through, and Raines scores the winning run.
In Montreal, where he got started, he hit a milestone. He's off and running. Here's the throw by Winter, and he is safe. Tim Raines has joined the most elite of clubs. 3 other men who had lived in the fastest of baseball lanes. Ty Cobb, Lou Brock, and Ricky Henderson, and now Tim Raines, his 800th stolen base. A new day, a new hero. That is the way it seemed. Chad Curtis had proven himself as a valued member of the team, though he suffered through a long second-half offensive slump. Defensively, he did the job while Bernie was hurt.
And towards the gap, Curtis on the run, and he makes a tremendous catch. That's why the combination of Bernie Williams and Chad Curtis is tough to beat in the outfield. And of course, when Homer Bush is aboard, speed is on base. Bush is going to round second, head for third. Here's the throw. It's offline, and he's in there. Speed on the bases.
Homer Bush is going to get another one. He's got the hat trick. And he has taken advantage of his opportunity to play. That's his 3rd hit.
East St. Louis's Homer Bush, who had the uncanny knack of standing out every time he stood up.
Ricky Leday awaiting his first Major League at-bat.
Soft-spoken Puerto Rican Ricky Leday, wearing an angel from his mom, was getting big-time experience for the big-time at-bats that would come for him in October.
In the hole, he's got a base hit. His first Major League at-bat. Curtis will stop at second. 1 pitch, 1 swing, and Ricky Leday is on the board.
Leday goes deep. This is headed toward the seats, and it's gone! Ricky Leday, his first Major League home run on a 3-2 count, and with one swing, he ties the ball game.
Ricky Leday, Strawberry, Curtis, Raines, and Homer Bush. All when called upon, were ready. August may be baseball's cruelest month. The dog days when you're dog tired. But for some Yankees, it was time to make it happen. Bernie Williams hit .328 and drove in 28 runs. It was his free agent year, and he was in the race for the American League batting title.
Right now, I'm so caught up in trying to stay focused and playing. You know, we have a great team and we have a great group of people here. And, you know, when that time comes, you know, I'll be able to make the decision. But right now, I'm not thinking too much about it right now.
Bernie had been part of the Yankees since he was a teenager, 1985, and he has a grasp of where he is and what he's a part of.
Probably from my third to my fifth year when I started, you know, being aware of all the tradition, guys that play there like DiMaggio and Mantle, and once you're aware of all the tradition and the pride of, you know, the Yankees, you know, winning and all of that, you know, you realize that, you know, that's a pretty select position to play.
Hitter to hitter, Joe Torre helped Martinez refine his groove. It worked. In Yankees history, only Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, and Tino have had back-to-back 120 RBI seasons.
This is definitely the best team I've ever played on. Offensively, defensively, the best pitching day in and day out. I've never been on a team that can go out there with the attitude that we're going to win today no matter what. And as great a team as I've played on in the past, the attitude of this team it's incredible.
Through it all, there was Paul O'Neill, the team's heart and soul, who had quietly negotiated a contract extension to what would most likely be the end of his career. He was clutch, selective, smart, and absolutely hated to lose or give up an at-bat. He stole 15 bases, and with another big season, finds himself fifth all-time among Yankee batting average leaders, and that is quite a list. The Derek Jeter Show aired daily at every Yankee game, no matter where it was played. Jeter handled all the attention like the team handled everything else.
Well, personal accolades are great. I mean, everyone wants to win awards and get noted for what they've done on the field, but for me, winning a World Series comes first, and I'll give all that stuff away and let everyone else have it as long as we continue to win, and you know, that's still the number one goal.
Jeter has just the right mix of playfulness and everything else. In fact, he has all the tools necessary to be the next captain of the New York Yankees. But of course, his game skills are what make everything about Derek Jeter possible. He drove in 84 runs, stole 30 bases, and scored 203 times a team high. His range, glove, and arm make him one of the premier shortstops in Yankee history, a point acknowledged by none other than Phil Rizzuto. He's a Yankee icon.
I have a good time. I mean, I have the best job in the world. I'm playing for the best team in baseball right now, and you know, there's not too many things that I have to worry about. You know, I come to the field and we've been winning on a regular basis, and you know, I'm having a great time.
By late August, 2 million fans had come to see the Yankees do their thing in the Bronx, and the postseason was a certainty. A matchup with the Texas Rangers in October was likely, making 6 games with them a chance to make a statement. On the 14th, El Duque sets a rookie record by striking out 13 Rangers, which was one of the most potent offensive teams in baseball. Meanwhile, Bernie Williams just kept going, and on the 50th anniversary of Babe Ruth's death, Bernie stepped to the plate, game tied in the 9th.
High and deep to right field. This is gone. The Yankees will win it. Thank you, Babe Ruth and Bernie Williams. The Yankees win it with one out here in the 9th, 6-5.
And Bernie Williams took a bow. 1 week later at the ballpark in Arlington, another chance to get the message across.
Atta baby. Atta baby. Go, baby. Atta baby. Atta baby. Atta baby, bro. Atta baby, G. Atta baby, Tito.
This time, it was Tino Martinez in the starring role with 2 home runs. And David Wells did his part, registering his 4th shutout and 6th complete game. And if that wasn't enough to prove something, how about facing their most potent pitching weapon, John Wetland?
Fastball driven in the air to right field. Gonzalez going back, still going back. Looks out. This is gone. A 3-run home. Scott Brocious just over the wall in right field. And the Yankees have taken an 11-9 lead.
And if you needed to reinforce things over the top, the Rangers were beaten by rookie Ryan Bradley.
Nice going, young man. Told you that, didn't I? I believe you. Hell of a way to break in.
Joe Torre and his managing partner Don Zimmer, in the game for 50 years, were seeing their team pass every test. They were leading second-place Boston by 18 games as the season moved to September, when David Wells faced the Oakland A's.
Call strike three, fastball to the inside corner. Hinch breaks his bat in disgust. 5 strikeouts in a row for David Wells. 18 up, 18 down.
Wells had flirted with another perfect game, but Jason Giambi ended that. And in David Wells, you get a competitor who loves the battle, and in his style, he shared a smile with Giambi. Having reached 100 wins faster than any team ever, New York went to Boston on September 9th. It was clinching day.
That's the one, that's the one. Scoot around there, scoot around there.
Oh! Hit well to straightaway center. Bragg is near the wall, looking up, and it is gone.
How about that?
His second home run. And again, it gives the Yankees a 2-run lead.
You're overdue, too.
David. Please, let's do most of our celebrating indoors. We don't want to antagonize these guys out there. Let's pass the word, all right?
As Valentin grounds toward short, this should do it. Jeter to Tino Martinez. And the New York Yankees are the champions of the American League East Division.
Deciding to celebrate their achievement every chance they had, the Yankees let the champagne flow.
You know, you think back to spring training, this is what you work for. This is the first step, winning the division. And it doesn't matter, if it's 3 weeks left to go in the season or 3 days. I mean, we did it, and it's an accomplishment.
It's just a great feeling because, this is just the beginning of hopefully a lot of good things to come.
I think our guys have just gone about it, full throttle since day one and got ourselves a big lead, and we felt comfortable with it. So, we didn't feel any problems with the division. No, now we just got to take it to the next step.
After that, the Yankees won more games, but not as often. In one 28-game stretch, they went 12-16. And one night at Tampa Bay, Joe Torre saw his team losing focus. As one Yankee said, "We've never seen Joe so angry."
In the dirt, away from Joe Girardi. Girardi's still looking for the ball, but Grimm is rounding third, and he's going to score.
How about that?
It was the first time he got on us, and he told us to, we need to stop looking forward to October. We needed to start playing baseball, so we were prepared for October. And Joe just said, you better turn up the intensity or we're going to be home after the first round.
Joe doesn't really scream and yell, but he gets that look on his face, and you know when he's angry. He challenged us and criticized us and challenged us, and it was simple, direct, but very effective.
There was a little sense that for a few days, we'd wrapped it up and we're playing in, some empty ballparks against some teams that weren't winning. And we did let our guard down a little bit, and the intensity fell off a little bit. And it was just a meeting to kind of, jump us just enough to say, hey, let's just pick it back up and make sure we're playing hard.
The season held out a few more surprises. On Sunday, September 20th, Joe Torre looked at the Orioles lineup card and noticed a great omission. That's when Joe Girardi choreographed a Yankee salute to Cal Ripken Jr.'s streak, over after 2,632 consecutive games. Then there was rookie Shane Spencer, who after 9 years in the minor leagues got significant September playing time and was a baseball fantasy.
Here's Shane Spencer, and that is hit deep to left. No doubt about it. Wow, has he shown some big-time power.
Overall, he hit 10 home runs, 8 in the season's final month. And when he hit those home runs, he had a tendency to do it with a lot of men on base.
Changeup is hit high and deep to right center field. Wynn is running. This one is gone. A grand slam home run for Shane Spencer. He's been unbelievable.
Long drive, way back. at the wall. God! History at Yankee Stadium on the season's last day. Shane Spencer's third Grand Slam as a rookie. It's a September to remember and his 10th home run. They want a curtain call. Here he comes.
No rookie ever had 3 Grand Slams, but that was before Shane Spencer came to the Bronx. Bernie Williams diffused the questions about where he'd play in the future by playing well in the present. Back from the disabled list with a fury, he was headed for a showdown with Mo Vaughn for the American League batting crown.
He does handle pressure well. You know, he was out for a month and a half being hurt, and he came back like he didn't miss a day. I mean, from day one, he was intent on having a great season, and he did.
It would come down to percentage points, and it would come down to the season's final day.
I think guys were truly excited to see one of our teammates do something like that. In that last series with Tampa, the last day when he got his first couple of hits, after his second hit, you can almost see the dugout just kind of erupt a little bit and come out. It's like, okay, that should do it right there. That should do it.
Bernie Williams, with those 2 hits, reached .339 and bested the Boston Sluggers' mark of .337. It was a glorious day of achievement for Bernie Williams. That day ended when the Yankees beat Tampa Bay 8-3, their 7th win in a row, meaning the Yankees' record would stand at 114-48, the greatest American League season ever, better than the 1954 Cleveland Indians, the 1927 Yankees, the 61 Bombers, or any other championship team you care to mention. The Yankees would then have to deal with the thought, if we don't win it all now, does it matter? This is where the journey to greatness began. More postseason games have been played at Yankee Stadium than any other place, and the Yankees would begin their best-of-5 series with the Texas Rangers at home. The Game 1 pitching matchup was David Wells and Todd Stottlemyre, and even with 2 great offenses, the final score was 2-0 Yankees. Wells pitched 8, struck out 9. In the second game, Andy Pettitte outdueled Rick Helling, alleviating some fears about his late-season ineffectiveness. His steely stare was a winning look, and Shane Spencer's fairy tale continued.
Swung on and hit in the air to deep left center. It is high. It is far. It is gone.
Yankee Stadium was delirious. Pettitte, Jeff Nelson, and Mariano Rivera nailed down a 3-1 win, allowing Texas only 5 hits. But the postseason was about to take a serious, emotional turn.
During the playoffs, sometimes we tend to focus so much on the game, and it's the only thing that matters. But when you talk about, life, I mean, that's what matters most.
I've never been so floored over any news or so shocked. It just stunned the whole team on a day before a playoff game in Texas.
Here's a guy that was, hitting home runs and running around the bases for you a couple of days before, and all of a sudden that nasty word cancer comes up, and it's just...
Bothered by abdominal pain for almost 2 months, Darryl Strawberry finally sought treatment, and doctors discovered a tumor on his colon which was cancerous. Strawberry was headed for surgery, but passed along a message of encouragement to his team, and that team responded.
The way Darryl handled the whole thing, I just thought he showed some unbelievable strength going through this.
In a way, I think it relaxed us a little bit. It took a little bit of pressure off us for the winning. And if you did have ailments, your ailments seemed to be nothing compared to what Darryl was going through, so you didn't really worry much about it.
It was a big influence on us all the way through the playoffs, just because, we felt that and prayed that everything was going to be well.
I'll never forget that day. That's probably one of the toughest games I've ever had to pitch, was to go out there and face Texas in Game 3 after hearing about Darryl.
Game 3 in Arlington meant channeling the emotions that swirled through the team. Wearing 39 stitched on their hats, the Yankees watched David Cone pitch his heart out, going 5 2/3, allowing 2 hits and no runs. In fact, the only runs in the game came in the 6th. Shane Spencer again. After a 3-hour and 16-minute rain delay, Mariano Rivera ended the series.
That series, we swept them, but those games were all close. They were hard-fought games, and I think it warmed us up, though. I mean, we hadn't played a game that meant a lot for 3 or 4 weeks, so it's we got into some close games, and we ended up winning them all, and went right into the Cleveland series, on a high note.
The ALCS with Cleveland was the moment the Yankees had been waiting a year for. The time when they can avenge the Sandy Alomar home run and a Game 5 loss in '97.
96 they were good, but this year, a much better team, much better. They're going all the way, right to the World Series.
David Wells is going to set the tone for the whole series tonight. Watch it. David Wells, that's the key.
I think the revenge factor, especially against Jared Wright.
Yeah, they don't
he came
like
in there
Jared
very
Wright too
cocky
much
last
either.
year. I think we have the edge this year. Been there, done that, seen it all.
Jarrett Wright started for Cleveland, and he started badly, not even surviving the first inning, when Paul O'Neill and the Yankees strung together a vicious collection of singles that led to 5 runs. It turned into a 7-2 win that showed off everything the Yankees were all about, including David Wells' 5-hit, 7-strikeout masterpiece. This series, though, still had plenty to offer. The Yankees would spend a lot of Game 2 trying to figure out how to get that one big hit off of starter Charles Nagy. The Indians had their own problem, and his name was David Cone. It was 1-1 into the 12th inning. That's when Travis Fryman's bunt turned the Yankees' world upside down.
Has to hurry, and he throws it into the runner. Everyone is safe, and Knobloch standing there pointing. Here comes the runner. Wilson rounds third. He comes home. Here's the throw. He slides. He's saved. Oh, did Knobloch pull a rock? The Indians lead 2-1.
The play was botched, and the ALCS was tied. Jacobs Field in Cleveland. It's where it all came undone a year ago, and Indians fans wanted it again. And for one more night, they got what they wanted. Andy Pettitte got rocked as he surrendered 4 mighty blasts to Manny Ramirez, Mark Whitten, and powerful Jim Thome twice. It was an ominous tone that surrounded the Yankees, in spite of all their wins. The Yankees needed Game 4, and on the mound with all the pressure a pitcher has ever felt stood El Duque. Joe Torre had faith.
It was so incredible, the magnitude that game held for us, and I watched him at brunch that day, okay? We're down 2-1, and he's out there serving people food. I mean, he's picking plates up. I said, wow. I said, I'm not sure if we're going to win, but I know he's not going to be afraid.
El Duque was magnificent, throwing 7 shutout innings. Game 5 was all about Chili Davis, a home run, and his long battle through rehab to finally come through for the team. In all, he drove in 3 as the Yankees knocked out starter Chad O'Jay in the 2nd inning. Back in the Bronx for Game 6, Yankee fans were relieved and believed the Yankees would be moving on. And things looked good as Scott Brocious helped build a 6-0 lead. After they added 3, Mariano Rivera came on in the 9th.
The 1-1 is dribbled on the ground back to Rivera. He fields, goes to first, in time. Ball game over. American League Championship Series over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
Once again, Joe Torre's eyes welled up. He had waited a baseball lifetime to get to the series. Now he was going for the 2nd time in 3 years. On a cool, clear Saturday night, Yankee Stadium opened its doors to another fall classic. New York and San Diego. One team loaded with history, the other with almost none. Yankee fans did their best to intimidate, and one thing was clear to both managers: the Yankees were the favorites.
It's going to be great. They have this quiet confidence that we had in '96 as the underdog. And the difference in our club is, we're the favorite here.
Why Ricky Leday in left field, Joe Torre was asked. Why not, he said. Everyone out there has been struggling. Leday said thank you to Torre and promptly took Kevin Brown's 2nd inning pitch to the right field corner to drive in 2. That's how things have gone for Torre. Leday the perfect choice. But it was the San Diego Padres who grabbed the lead behind Greg Vaughn's 2 home runs. 5-2 until the 7th. That's when Bruce Bochy had removed starter Kevin Brown, allowing Donnie Wall to face Chuck Knobloch. That was a bad idea.
And the 2-0. Swung on and drilled deep to left. Did he get enough? See ya! Home run, Chuck Knobloch! and the Yankees have tied the game at 5. All is forgiven by the New York fans as Knobloch goes deep. A huge 3-run home run.
Same inning, bases loaded for Tino Martinez.
And the 3-2. Swung on a drill deep to right. There it goes. A grand slam into the upper deck for Tino Martinez. And the Yankees lead 9-5.
Mariano Rivera got 4 outs to shut down San Diego, and the Yankees took Game 1, 9-6. Having saved the Yankees season in Game 4 of the ALCS, El Duque would take the mound for Game 2.
I went into the game with a lot of pressure that I put on myself. Fans don't think when they see him in the mound, he doesn't have any pressure. But I put a lot of pressure on myself. That's what I live for. That's why I do better when I put a lot of pressure on myself.
The turning point was most likely in the first inning, when with 2 runners on, Paul O'Neill made a spectacular catch to rob Wally Joyner. The Yankees won it 9-3. Once again, El Duque showed himself to be truly something special, and he treasured every moment. The World Series switched to Qualcomm Stadium, where 65,000 had pushed the Padres hard along the way. The Padres had a 3-0 lead when their ace reliever Trevor Hoffman entered the game in the 8th inning.
Certainly the situation coming in, when Trevor came in, the type of year he's had. And it's just one of those games where, got up to the plate and for some reason the crowd went out of, stopped focus on the crowd, and it was just a focus on this guy throwing the ball and just trying to bear down and get a pitch to hit and, see if I could hit it hard.
Swung on and hit in the air to deep center. Finley back, away back, on the track, at the wall, gone! A 3-run home run for Scott Brosius. He hit a 3-run home run over the dead center field wall, and the Yankees take a 5-3 lead.
I don't even remember going from second to third base. I remember slapping, Willie's hand on the way by. It's one of those things, maybe when I watched on tape, I'll look, say, I did that, or, I jumped up, or, you don't even really know what you're doing. It gives you such excitement or such joy that you kind of lose yourself for the whole trip around the bases.
Scott Brosius might well be the MVP of the World Series.
Game 4 was a great night for Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, and the New York Yankees. Rivera had been almost perfect in 1998, just like the Yankees themselves.
Ball game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
The celebration of joy and relief would last for hours that night in San Diego, California. Their season, in summary, was the highest ever, 125 wins and only 50 defeats. They had survived every test and taken the game to a new plateau, just like all the mythical Yankee teams before them. Is this team better? We'll never know for certain. But we do know this. This team had the season of their lives. The Canyon of Heroes was once again roaring for the Yankees. The ticker tape flowed, and the return of Darryl Strawberry after surgery made the team complete again. The Yankees were surrounded by the people of New York, who now knew how they would define greatness in their lifetime.
Everything that you could think of, that you could dream of for a career happened to me in 2 months. So it's an exceptional moment for me.
I very happy. My daughter here, my mother, my wife, champion the world.
It's just amazing. We went through this feeling back in '96. Right now, I just don't have words to describe this feeling right now, man.
In my opinion, 125 and 50. These guys are the best guys that have ever played the game. Thank you.
Are we Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio? No, but as a team, this is the ultimate team.